Good afternoon and welcome to the Live Wire. I'm Meg Whalen, Director of Communications for the College of Arts and Architecture. I'd like to welcome you to a new academic year and a new time for the Live Wire, 2 o'clock on Tuesday afternoons. As our guest today, we have Crista Cammaroto, who is the Director of Galleries for the College of Arts and Architecture, and she's going to talk about our Center City Gallery, the Projective Eye Gallery, and the really cool exhibitions we have in there right now, and the event that is scheduled for this Friday evening. So welcome, Crista.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit first about the Projective Eye Gallery. Where is it for those who haven't been there, and what's it like, and what is its mission?
Well, the Projective Eye Gallery is in our new Center City campus. It's on 9th and Brevard, and we have street side access. You can come in through the lobby and see it right away. It's a very translucent gallery. It has 2 glass sides. It really represents the intellectual ethos of the College of Arts and Architecture. We like to call it a safe haven for experimentation and interdisciplinary activity. We have professional artists in there from all over the world, and at times we have some of our professors also.
And so this is one of the times when we are featuring some of our faculty from the college.
Yes.
In what I believe you call the Summer Experiment. Tell us a little bit about what that means.
Well, the Summer Experiment is meant to be a creative alternative to the faculty show. We wanted to celebrate our faculty, and we also wanted to inspire pollination, cross-pollination across the College of Arts and Architecture and interdisciplinary activity. And we wanted to do that through new work and collaboration. So we created this thing called the Summer Experiment that happens each year. And we have a deadline around Valentine's Day every year, and we ask everybody to submit proposals in teams of 3, and they have to be across the disciplines. So they have, music, architecture, art and art history, dance, theater. Any of those combinations of those units is okay. And we have an external panel to come in and judge the applications and the proposals and see which one would best would be the best fit really for the gallery. And there's several different things that they take into account, including the architectural size and translucence of the gallery and how courageous these people are being together and whether they can do it together or not. And this year they've decided on the aggregation transformation group.
Great. So tell us about, first of all, how many faculty and who are they involved in aggregation transformation?
Well, it's 3 professors and 1 director of the Fab Lab, Ryan Bisons, who's also a very well-known sculptor and just got an NCAC fellowship. Kelly Carlson Redding, who is in the School of Architecture, but also a painter. Heather Freeman, who's an incredible animator and teaches in digital media, and Eric Watercotti, who's a recently, pretty much a new professor to our mix, and an incredible printmaker who likes to kind of transition from the flat plane to the 3-dimensional plane and see where printmaking can go in a sculptural sense.
And I think we have, for people to see, a time lapse that shows the actual construction of this work. Maybe we could show people a little bit of that, and you could explain what it is they're seeing and tell us about the process of building this, and what are the pieces, what are the things that people will see when they go to the gallery?
Well, right now what you can see in this time lapse is the understructure, which was really the creative baby of Kelly Carlson Redding, with definitely some great help from Ryan Bisons also. And it's kind of this arching back ship that holds all these fabric structures and articulated forms that Kelly created, some that reference the body, some that reference canoes and things like that. You can also see right now Todd's hanging this really elaborate curtain, and Eric Watercotti did the surface treatment on that curtain, which also mimics the surface treatment on this actual piece, the actual piece of sculpture and installation in the center of the room. This particular piece has projections also going, dissecting the inside of it, projecting from either side onto the walls. There's animations that go along with the piece that are really incredible. There's kind of this cross-referencing and reflection that the group does with each other. It starts with, I think this ship is what we call it in the center of the room. And it goes from those forms and the canoe forms and then into these little structures that are like these kind of degrading atom-like structures, which also reference the kind of icospheres in Heather Freeman's animated work, and this melting moon also in her work that you see projected onto the walls and other parts of the installation. And there's 6 projectors in addition to this structure in the center, and then the structure in the center also responds to the viewer. If you get close to it, it will start tweeting at you and start moving some of the fabric. So this particular installation in this group project was chosen because of all of its responsiveness and because of its way of using technology and older forms of sculpture together.
So when you bring 4 faculty members like this, 2 from the School of Architecture and 2 from the Department of Art and Art History, and each is an accomplished artist in his or her own right, is it difficult for them to come together in a group and create something that works off of each other's ideas, and what is that like as a process, the collaboration?
Well, it's certainly a process, and I think that they have to be really courageous to allow themselves to go into that process. They have to really drop their ego, and then the gallery director, me in this case, says no recycled imagery, and then they have to work even harder, and they really did wonderful work in relationship to that. They didn't, all of their work was new work. They met quite often. They got to the point where they were joking around and being very playful with each other, which I think really helped. So they could reflect off of each other instead of just, even though it's an aggregation of transformation and an aggregate kind of melts things together, the melting in this was very fluid. And they really reflected off of each other instead of just piling up their work on or gluing it to somebody else's work. Right. Their work related to the work that came before it. So they worked in unison very nicely. More in each of their own mediums, but they also went across disciplines. Like Eric was actually a big part of putting the skin on it in addition to printing the skin. Kelly was a big part of the whole form, but then became a part of the whole structure and how the projections work and how those projections were going to work with the tweeting with Ryan Bison's. And Heather Freeman really worked very hard, I think, also to make sure that these animations actually didn't look like a square in the installation. They look like drawings of light, which go really well with a lot of the image treatment on the sculpture. So I think they enjoyed really reflecting on each other and making each other look better together. So it was a beautiful collaboration for the 4 of them, I think.
Yeah, I've actually seen the installation because it has been up since earlier in the summer, and I was, first of all, one thing that I thought was really interesting was that as I approached the door of the gallery and I looked through and saw one of the animations on the wall, at first it looked 3-dimensional to me, and I thought it was a mobile hanging in the air, and when I got in I realized it was actually flat on the wall, but somehow because of the light and the projection
and the
it
image
had
quality,
this and the image quality, so that was really neat. And then the other thing is that you do see in the different shapes and images and animations and all, you see recurring images and themes, and the boat or canoe you see over and over, and water sounds.
The water,
you hear water as you come in, and so really there is this sense of a very comprehensive sensory experience.
And it's a wonderful experience to have in the summer. You know, you kind of escape from the heat, and it's a very ephemeral dreamscape. There's lots of kind of subconscious. I would say that they collaborated more subconsciously than real conscious kind of thought, which added to their fun and the success of the whole, and the unification of the piece too.
Let's try to show a few pictures of the finished project, and you can see in this image one of the animations projected on the wall, and of course the way the light comes in the window. And through the textile pieces that Eric had made, and the big moon kind of melts, and those canoes move across that moon
And when you're standing in between that projection and the sculptural piece, they're also on the form.
Yeah.
And so there's really no beginning and end in the whole room. I think that's why you're feeling, the whole experience is very 3D, which I'm glad to hear that you felt that way. When they came up with the projection through the piece, I thought that was really incredible. There's actually a bird that flies on different planes going through the piece, which is, I think, for anybody with a creative mind would really enjoy that.
Yeah, you have to actually look inside and see what there is. We can show a little bit from the opening. The interesting thing about this exhibition is it has two receptions. They're at the top, Projective Eye Gallery to the right. You had an opening reception, and now you're having a closing reception, which is
why
really...
would we do that?
We don't normally do that, so explain why we are doing that this time.
We're doing that. We have a really great downtown arts audience that we're really good at attracting and bringing in the middle of the summer. And we waited till after the 4th of July, of course. It opened on July 12th. But a lot of our own college folks were abroad doing various different things, and a lot of the students were too. So we wanted to have a second reception just to make sure that they were able to see it when they came back.
Right, so this reception, of course, is open to the general public, but we certainly hope in particular that our university community will come.
Absolutely.
And it is this Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. And just like the opening reception, you have some performances in addition to conversations with the artist and discussion of the work.
Thanks for bringing that up. Triptych Collective is another collaborative group, a collaborative group that has been working together a lot longer. And they're a music, performative, dance conglomeration, and they came in and did us the honor of doing a responsive piece to the collaborative work. So it's a collaborative work in response to a collaborative work.
And we have a little bit of film from the opening, and this, of course, it won't be the exact same because it is improvisatory.
Yeah, and they will be doing...
So they will do some movement that might be different, but it'll be a similar concept this Friday.
A similar concept, but a little bit more leaning towards this installation is going to pack up and send itself away soon. So they'll have a little bit more of a closure feeling, I think, to the closing reception. This was a beautiful piece because it really helped the audience feel less afraid to interact with the sculpture. A lot of times the audience can be a little timid, and they were a lot less timid after watching the expressiveness of Triptych Collective in response to the work.
It's interesting to sometimes see the projections on them, on their bodies. A little piece will show
come
up
through
on the shoulder or the back or something.
And you can see a little piece tweeting up there and moving in response to one of the dancers
Up at
too.
the top.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's jerking back and forth, the kinetic sculpture part.
And doing it again, yeah. And when there's 6 projectors like that, it really does transform the room, and you find these reflections that come in different places that you hadn't expected.
And Triptych Collective, the male dancer that was on the screen is a faculty member actually at Queen's University of Charlotte, Eric Mullis, but the female dancers are all UNC Charlotte alumni from our dance department. So that's a nice...
We're proud of that also.
Yeah, that's a nice connection that we have. So, so Aggregation Transformation, Summer Experiment 2013, a collaboration with 4 faculty members. But what's nice about the Center City building is that we not only have this really beautiful gallery space, but we also have some other exhibition spaces that we use in the building.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We're very happy. We have a very hospitable environment there with the staff and the director of the Center City campus. And when appropriate, they allow us to go into the lobby respectively and respectfully, because they have a lot of events in there. And they also allow us to use the front window, which is perfect for showing artwork, the way it's designed. And right now we have Sketching the Drawdown by Rob Bates. And
right, tell us a little bit about Rob. I know that he's a former Marine. and he has come back to school, and he is an illustration student in our Department of Art and Art History. Tell us a little bit about him and about the kind of work that he does.
Well, he's different than the usual students. He did 8 years of active duty previous to anything that's going on now, and previous to when he was actually embedded as a documentary illustrator while he was also a student. So he's had a lot of adult-like success while being a student. This Sketching the Drawdown was when he was actually embedded for 10 days with a group from Camp Lejeune into Afghanistan, and he was asked to go in only as an artist. But he had already created the habit of sketching what was going on for a long time. So they're very illustrative pieces, but unlike photography, a sketch takes a lot more time, in the foreground anyway. And so there's this like really wonderful, especially in the portraits, there's a really wonderful intimacy between his subjects that he experiences, I think, as an artist and a soldier. So there's two of those things combined that I think make it so interesting. He has a journal of all of these sketches that we actually have on display on a podium. It's beautiful, and it has wonderful, writings about what the experience was like, which we like to include in that. And we actually blew some of these images up real large and put them in the front window so people could see what was inside and on a more intimate level. But it was wonderful to see the sketches blown up real big too. There's a real nice quality to them. There's a nice patina on them that kind of gives some dirt from where he was and things of that sort. And there's all kinds of different things being depicted that I think are really important to see. You can see the civilians responding to the soldiers. There's a slight tension, but not a lot of tension. You can see somebody going in there and trying to find landmines, and when you know what that means, the viewer, me as a viewer, and I'm very tense, looking at that activity. There's some of the forts. There was one where there was actually a fort from Alexander the Great from many years past that was kind of rebuilt and reconstructed, and there's an image of that. You can see, a young kid looking through razor wire at the artist. And so there's a lot of things that are very referential to the actual experience of doing a drawdown. I mean, it's a very interesting endeavor, I think, to be in there as an army for a long time and then to have to be pulling out years later.
Right.
There's an image of a gunner that gives a little bit more of an aggressive feeling, a lookout feeling to it, but there's also images of people just relaxing and getting ready to kind of pack up and leave. So there's an air of that also. And
I think I heard that Rob also has some work over in the Cone Center on campus. So I think he's, not only can you see him for the next couple of weeks at the Center City, but also right here on our university campus. Not sure exactly where, but in the Cone.
And he was in Sports
Center
Illustrated recently.
That's
also.
right, doing other kinds of work, and he's received all sorts of commendations and awards for his Marine combat work, illustrations. But then for Sports Illustrated, it's just pieces that illustrate certain articles in the magazine. It's very different from combat work. So it's kind of fun for our department to have someone who's simultaneously studying but also out there in the commercial world succeeding.
Yeah,
so
it's inspiring. Yeah.
So again, tell us a little bit of the logistics for Friday evening. If people want to come, it's free.
It's free. It's always free. We always keep the gallery open from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. The projections actually look really wonderful at night, and Rob's work looks good all day. The closing reception that we'll have on Friday night, there's a different parking situation than before. They're starting to build actually a parking structure, so you can actually park directly across from the gallery and across from the Center City campus building on 9th Street. There's several different parking areas there, and we'll have a parking attendant. Parking is also free. They give that to the gallery for bringing in all kinds of imagery all the time. So parking will be free, admission to the gallery is free. We'll have a light reception with hors d'oeuvres and some refreshments, and of course we'll have Triptych Collective again. And the artists will be speaking.
And then how long can people, if they can't come this week or they're not able to come Friday evening, how long will that work be on display?
Until September 13th. That's a wonderful question. Thanks for asking that.
Things
Yeah.
will still be up for an additional couple of weeks.
We like to help the public marinate with our work, so we like to give the public a good time an easy time to go in. And for people coming from the main campus area, parking is really so much easier now. So it doesn't have to be a stress like it has been in the past.
And then, of course, this is just the first of many shows that we have at the Projective Eye Gallery at Center City this season. In the last few minutes that we have, can you tell us a little bit about what to look forward to over the course of the academic year?
I would love to. After this exhibit, we will have Mad Hatters to Pixel Pushers exhibit, which will explore the continuum of photography through alternative processes into digital media.
So that is in partnership?
That's in partnership with the Light Factory, and it's also in conjunction with the Society for Photographic Education Conference, which we are hosting with the Light Factory in October.
Okay.
And the Southeast, actually, in photography is known for being one of the most inclusive, harmonious, collaborative regions in the country.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so we're very happy to be the host for that with the Light Factory this year.
And tell us just a little bit about the artists that will be shown in that exhibition.
Well, we'll have Linda Ford Roberts, who's an incredible photographer, Carolyn Demerit, who's been a photographer for a very long time and hasn't exhibited as much locally, so we're happy to bring her out in the open again. Alice Sebrel, who actually runs Black Mountain Art Museum, Black Mountain College Art Museum. She has a particular series too, actually, where she does a lot of work with animals and the three-dimensional form and photography, which is actually a hard mix. We'll have Jeff Murphy, our own professor in photography, and Aspen Hochhalter, another photography professor. Lori Shore, who actually does these incredible images on magnolia leaves. So we're trying to kind of show all different types and forms. We're going to have Dan Estabrook, who does these very small but meaningful and thick emotionally and psychologically. He's sending work down from New York. He does
So
these
they're
silver
not all
prints.
from the Southeast.
They're not all from the Southeast. We had to reach a little bit further, just because we wanted to. Ann Arden McDonald, she is actually coming in, her work's coming in from New York too. S. Gail Stevens, her work is coming in from New Orleans area. And we're very happy to have her work too. It's a mixture of photograms and constructed images. None of it is documentary in any sense. It's all created and constructed in front of the camera or in front of light, like a photogram would be.
Yeah.
We also have Antonio Martinez, who is a great digital artist. I think he's actually based in Texas right now.
And so you'll have another big party and opening reception for that.
Yes, and we'll be very honored to have our UNC Charlotte Jazz Quintet, led by, I guess, Will Campbell.
Right.
So they will be performing in conjunction with that, not as background music,
Right,
but we're
as a
very
concert.
proud to have that, but as a concert. We like to create things that are like happenings there so that there's more than one sensory thing going on for our audience. After that, on September 28th, that opening, we will then move on into November. We'll have Murmurs on the Other Side of Light, a Guyanese artist named Stanley Greaves. He is a wonderful painter and has a whole series of work where these shadows come to life. And we'll probably have some other artists in combination with him. We'll move on to Enrique Oliveira and a residency that will last for a month to create that work, which is on an architectural scale, and then the Sustain Me Baby show in the spring.
And people can go to the College of Arts and Architecture website.
Yes.
And look under events and exhibitions and find the Center City Gallery tab and see all of the upcoming dates and exhibitions for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks
Yes.
so much for telling
Thank
us
you,
about
Meg.
that, and in particular about this Friday's exciting closing reception.
Yes, please
And
join
so,
us.
Hope you can come to Aggregation Transformation. Thank you for joining us today for the Live Wire. We will continue next week at this same time, same day, with the next installment of the Live Wire, and hope you'll tune in then. Thank you.